Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a question that has puzzled people for centuries, a real head-scratcher from the very beginning of human history. Who died first, Adam or Eve? It seems like a simple question, right? But the answer is far more fascinating and complex than you might imagine. Stick with me because we're about to unravel this ancient mystery, and I promise the conclusion will surprise you. To start, let's go straight to the primary source, the book of Genesis in the Bible. Chapter 5 gives us what's known as the genealogy from Adam to Noah. It's like a very, very old family tree. Verse 3 tells us, when Adam had lived 130 years, he fathered a son in his own likeness after his image and named him Seth. Then, a couple of verses later, in verse 5, it says, thus all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. So, we have a very specific age for Adam's death, 930 years old. That's our first key piece of evidence. Now, what about Eve? This is where things get interesting. Genesis mentions Eve extensively in the Garden of Eden story. She's created from Adam's rib, she's tempted by the serpent, and she and Adam have their first children, Cain and Abel. After Cain's tragic actions, Genesis 4:25 tells us, Adam knew his wife again, and she bore a son and called his name Seth. So Eve is definitely still around when Seth is born, which we know happened when Adam was 130. But after that, the text goes silent. The Bible doesn't give us a specific age for Eve at her death, nor does it explicitly state when she died. So how can we solve this? We have to become historical detectives and look at other ancient texts and traditions that grew up around the biblical stories. These are often called apocryphal or pseudepigraphal texts. While they aren't part of the official biblical canon for most major faiths, they offer incredible insight into how ancient people thought about these characters. One of the most important of these is a book called The Life of Adam and Eve, also known in its Greek version as the Apocalypse of Moses. This text is an ancient Jewish work that dates back to around the 1st century AD. It's essentially an expansion of the story in Genesis, filling in the gaps with details about what happened to Adam and Eve after they were exiled from the Garden of Eden. And guess what? It directly addresses our question. According to The Life of Adam and Eve, Adam becomes very ill in his old age. As he lies on his deathbed, he gathers all his children and grandchildren around him to tell them the story of the fall one last time. Eve is right there with him, overcome with grief. She confesses her own part in the transgression and prays, acknowledging her sin. In this version of the story, Adam dies first at the age of 930, just as Genesis says. The text then describes a grand celestial funeral for Adam, where angels and even God are involved in his burial. But the story doesn't end there. After Adam's funeral, the life of Adam and Eve tells us that Eve is left to live on. The text is very clear. Just 6 days after Adam's death, Eve gathers her children, tells them to write down the story of their parents' lives on tablets of stone and clay, and then she too passes away. The angels then return to bury her right beside Adam. So, according to this very ancient and influential tradition, Adam died first, and Eve followed him just 6 days later. It's a powerful and poignant ending to their story, suggesting that they were so deeply connected that they couldn't bear to be parted for long, even in death. This narrative has been incredibly popular throughout history, and has shaped much of the art and literature we see about Adam and Eve. But is that the only answer? Not quite. History is never that simple. Other traditions and interpretations exist. For example, some Jewish rabbinic literature known as Midrash also explores this. While many sources align with Adam dying first, the discussions are complex. The rabbis were less focused on a simple timeline and more on the moral and theological implications. They debated the nature of their sins, their repentance, and their ultimate fates. The dominant view, however, aligns with the life of Adam and Eve, where Adam's death precedes Eve's. It's also interesting to think about this from a purely logical perspective based only on Genesis. The Bible states Adam lived to be 930. While it doesn't give an age for Eve, it establishes a pattern of extreme longevity for this entire generation of patriarchs. Seth lived 912 years, Enos 905, and so on. It would be highly unusual if Eve's lifespan was dramatically shorter than those of her husband and son. Given that she was created from Adam and was his partner, it's reasonable to infer they were of a similar biological makeup and would have had similar lifespans. So, even without the external texts, the idea of them dying close together in time makes a lot of sense. So to recap the mystery, the Bible itself only gives a death date for Adam, leaving Eve's an open question. However, the most prominent and ancient non-biblical traditions, specifically the life of Adam and Eve, state clearly that Adam died first, with Eve dying just 6 days later. This version provides a beautifully complete narrative arc for humanity's first parents, ending their shared journey together. Isn't that incredible? A question that seems simple on the surface opens up a whole world of ancient history, forgotten books, and deep theological storytelling. It shows that the stories we think we know often have hidden layers just waiting to be discovered. The consensus of ancient tradition gives us a clear answer. Adam was first. What do you think about this? Does this answer surprise you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love reading your perspectives and engaging in discussion. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into historical and biblical mysteries, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We have so many more fascinating questions to explore together. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.